Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. The translation reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story? My name is Pastor Mhlang, not his real name. And what I am about to share with you is a secret that I have carried along for years and years. So I once stood at the pulpit preaching about faith, forgiveness, and redemption. I was respected, looked up to, a man of God in the eyes of the congregation, but beneath the suits, the robes, I carry a dark truth, one that has now come back to haunt me in the most devastating way. This is my confession and how I betrayed the Lord, how I betrayed my church and everything that I once stood for. Years ago, before I found the church, I was a different man. I was a young, ambitious Zimbabwean man. Oh, by the way, I am South African through marriage. I got married to my wife. We met at university. And then we both agreed that we had a calling to become pastors. We then went and we attended Bible school. My wife, the day that she is going to find out that this is what I did to her, she is going to be hurt and her heart is going to be broken. And I just wanted wealth. I was watching others that were around me, those that I knew, they were prospering. And I knew that the reason as to why they were prospering the way that they were, it was because they were using some charms. And these people that I'm talking about mostly were some that were my relatives, friends that I grew up with in Zim. And I wanted a taste of that life. I really wanted to have big cars. I told myself that when you are a pastor, you need to have a lot of money. Because when you do not have money, then no one is going to respect you. The people can only respect someone who will have money. When they tell them something, then they would agree. I knew that all that I had to do was to perform Ukuthwala rituals, and I had to do this. That one I knew. As for my wife, she really did not like that much to go with me to my country of birth. So I then took that opportunity. I kept on traveling back and forth, just pretending as if I was just going to visit my long-time relatives. Whenever I would go there, I would make sure that I find a Sangoma that was willing to assist me to perform the rituals. Some of the Sangomas that I visited, they were for real. Some of them, they were scammers. And until I found one who assisted me. My wife, whom I'll call Tandeka, and we had a daughter on the way by the time that I did the rituals. I was determined to provide for her. I was tired of struggling, of wondering how I would pay the next bill or put food on the table. On my next trip to Zim, I collected one of my uncles who loved being around traditional healers. Anything that he wanted to do, it will be concerning traditional healers. Just a simple headache, he would rush to the traditional healers. Anything that bothered him, his solution was the traditional healers. So I knew that he was the man whom I could relate to, a man who also wanted what I wanted. He took me to Mutare. When we went to Mutare, that was when we met a very powerful Sangoma. He was known in that village for his rituals. There was a bus when we got there. This was a church bus, mind you. It is a traditional church there in Zim. I do not want to mention the name of that church. So the owner of that church and the kids and as well as the grandchildren, they had came to that traditional healer to strengthen themselves. That was when I said, so church is a business. And I then said that it is far much better for me to do the same thing. When I arrived in the consultation room, he explained that for me to be able to have powerful charms, what was needed was that I had to offer at least my daughter, my unborn child. So I thought that maybe he wanted my wife to have a miscarriage. And I said, no, I cannot do that because God does not want us to kill, especially the unborn babies. They are not supposed to be harmed in that way, because God is the owner of life. He's the one who creates. The healer then told me that no, it was not going to be that. What was needed was that I just needed to tell him, to tell his ancestors that in that shrine, in that moment, I was sacrificing my unborn daughter to the shrine so that she can save the shrine for the rest of her life. I asked the healer about how exactly was my daughter going to serve the shrine, but he was just vague about it. He did not give me an open answer, so I agreed. I convinced myself that this was the only way to get rich so quick. The ritual took place the same night. The Sangoma told me the things that I was supposed to buy once I had arrived in South Africa, and I had to take one of my daughter's nappy. She was still not yet born at that time, and I was already planning. I was told that when she would have soiled her nappy, I was supposed to pretend as if I wanted to assist my wife. Then I will take the nappy with the poop, and it was really painful what I was supposed to do and disgusting. I had to eat the poop, and after eating the poop, I had to hide that nappy. I then returned back to South Africa, knowing that I had my other plans after our daughter would have been born. I started acting as if I was careless. My wife was always complaining, "You touch this and that thing, I don't see it anymore." And I was preparing for the time when I would have to steal the baby's nappy so that my wife will just say, "You have misplaced it again." One day, my wife was not feeling not so okay. I then assisted her. The baby had messed up the nappy. I then started changing the baby's nappy. Back in those days, most of the people, they were not using these baby diapers. We used to have nappies. So I changed my daughter's nappy, and then I went into the toilet with it, and I sat down and I started to cry. I cried so hard because I knew that I was about to perform the most disgusting act, and indeed that was what I did. I ate my daughter's poop, and after eating it, I just drank some water. I just drove. My wife asked me where I was going, but I could not even give her an answer because I was feeling disgusted because of the thing that I had done. And I then drove and I drove. After that was when me and my wife, we started making money. I asked her about the kind of a business that she wanted to do. She told me. So my daughter is now all grown up. My daughter right now, she is currently 19 years old, but my daughter, the problem with her is that she is mentally challenged. And when I returned back home, I went back to that place where I did the rituals, and I spoke with the Sangoma's children since he already passed away. And they told me that they cannot assist me as such, but they will give me a response in time. So this is where I am right now. As for my daughter, she embarrasses me. She humiliates me because I feel as if as a man of God, you are not supposed to have a child that is mentally ill. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our admin who helped us with this translation. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world.